Hello, everybody. Melinda Schmidt Connect here with Resonate Marketing and Work Together Wednesday. My guest today is Evie Fleming with Tree Evolution. Before we get started, let me just say if you're here, please just say hello so that we know who's watching. If you have any questions or thoughts or tips of your own to share, please put them in the comment box. And if you're watching the recording, please put in hashtag replay so that we will know that you saw it afterwards. Work Together Wednesday is where we come together as small business owners and learn from each other. So sometimes I share tips, sometimes I have guests, and today my guest Evie is going to talk about how to de-stress so that we can be more productive when we are working. So with that, tell us a little bit about yourself, Evie. You do reflexology and yoga.
Yes, I do. Thank you so much, Melinda, for letting me come on your platform. But I started teaching yoga back in 2010, and I am got my certification back then, and I've been teaching yoga ever since. And I do reflexology as well. It's something that I've incorporated in the last 3 years or so into my business and practice. And I think the two modalities work well together in trying to create a space for wellness for my clients. And so that's the small and short background, a little bit about me.
And you were talking to me about how we think we can handle stress, or I think sometimes I'm stressed and I'm not even really aware that I'm stressed, and how that can impact our productivity, our ability to work or to function.
Yes, it can. I was telling her that when I first started teaching yoga, I actually taught at a women's shelter, and I did it first on a volunteer basis. And the reason why I'm sharing that piece is because that teaching actually took me on a journey into learning how to really fully embody some type of method of de-stressing or movement in some way. Because here I was trying to teach people about yoga and de-stressing and breathing, and I was stressing about actually teaching and teaching the class. And it's like, what is happening is I'm in my head so much, and I've totally ejected out of my body, and I'm not fully present to what's happening. And so you have, it's like me talking to myself, which I'm encouraging, all of us probably have that little inner voice. It's like saying you've got to incorporate what you know and actually get out of your own way so you can disconnect from the stress so that you can actually focus and have clarity and actually be really present to your work and be a real service. And so I was talking about how the whole biology of it to Melinda, about like if you're in a stress mode, your body, I have to go to the biology of it, being a nurse. I have to go to that piece to get it across to people that when you're stressing, your heart rate is up, your breathing is labored, and your emotions probably feel like they're on the surface of your skin, and you're in this fight or flight mode. There is no way that you can have a clear thought. There's no way that you're thinking at that moment. You may think you are, and you're like, oh, I work well in stress. You're being more reactive to stuff and not having a space to be able to have a little bit of a moment where there's nothing going on, where you can have a clear thought to come in. And so then our emotion, our, like I said, our reactions are reactive. There's no blood flow to the brain, and then stress internally then begins to actually do a lot of I hate to say the word damage, but it does to the body itself. Because then you long term, that stress is going to affect, you got blood vessels that are like this, other parts of the body that's not getting good nutrients, and eventually it will take its toll and come back to bite in a way. And so learning some techniques and learning some ways to de-stress, even if my motto is it only just takes 5 minutes. You can do 5 minutes, and you keep incorporating those 5 minutes, they'll start to add up and get you to a space of where you develop a real routine of self-care. So
Awesome.
what else? Yeah.
So what are your tips? What are some good ideas for taking these 5 minute stress breaks, and how often do you take them? And is it regularly scheduled, or is it signaled by you find yourself with muddled thoughts? How do you know?
Well, one thing, like for instance, I'm sitting now, and I'm sure a lot of us these days we're on Zoom, right?
Right.
We're on video calls, webinars, or whatever. So if I'm sitting in front of my computer the whole time, one of the first places I know everybody's going to say immediately in between your shoulder blades start to hurt because
Mm-hmm.
you're sitting, you're trying to hold yourself in a perfect position. You're trying not to move outside of camera, and you're literally holding the body stoic and still. And that in itself is creating a little bit of minor stress to the system. So I tell people in between your Zoom calls, hopefully there's enough space. You want to stretch. You want to like stretch the body out because stress is energy held tight in the body, and so you're like, let me give it somewhere else to go. Let me see if I can release it. So like, taking the arms out wide, taking them up and down above the head, like, but syncing it with the breath, like as you breathe, you inhale, bring the arms up. As you exhale, you bring them down. Like you're focusing on the breath because believe it or not, you hear people always talk about breath work, meditation. They talk about these things because they work. They're tried and true. They're tried and true methods that work, and they've seen people's productivity after they had a moment where they reset themselves. They did a bit of meditation. So stretches, like just taking the arms up and down, even twisting, in your chair because your spine is like this,
Mm-hmm.
doing some twisting motion with the body. Like even if you got up and just swung your arms around, side to side, like just standing to give the body some movement. That in that moment is at least moving that part of your body. And that's one thing. That's my first tip. Like in between your meetings, get up, do something, move the body.
And
Don't
that's
sit
easy
for hours
enough.
on
Just to
end.
stand up from your chair, touch your toes, reach to the ceiling, swing side to side. That's very easy to do.
Yeah, and it's not gonna, you can do it right quick, and your camera's back on. And then the other thing I do, and I actively do this, I have a reminder on my phone, and I do one in the morning, one in the night, and it just pops up on my phone, and one says take a few breaths, and at that moment it will remind me, okay, I'm just going to take a few breaths. I'm just going to breathe, just to settle myself and breathe. The other one later will say, can you, do try to see if you can do a 2 minute little meditation. But
Okay.
I'm scheduling it, like I'm making it a priority for myself. Like I'm saying, this is what I want to do, this is what I need to do. And if it comes up on your phone, yeah, you might snooze it, you might ignore it. But if you put it daily and it keeps coming up, eventually you're
You're more
gonna,
likely to do it and pay attention to those reminders.
yes, yes. And
Okay.
breathing just means focusing on your breath. When people talk about breath work, the whole part of meditation is actually the breathing part. It's just sitting, focusing on your breath. And as you focus on your breath, if I'm trying to focus on breathing and I'm paying attention to how my belly's moving, if my chest is expanding, if it's relaxing, how can I think about anything else? Now my mind's on that.
Mm.
That in itself takes me out of my head. And then the breathing immediately, you start to make the breathing slow down, heart rate slows down. Now blood is flowing in a nice flow. Now the brain's getting some oxygen. Now I can move on to my next project. Now I can, I actually did something that didn't cost anything, and it was totally me, and I could do it, right?
That's free is good. I mean, we have one of my friends, Jan, is on, and she's asking, "What do you think about chiropractors?" I know that's related in the holistic area.
Oh yes, yes. I it does. I am. advocate for it if it's something that you want to do to help reset your body, because I actually have a chiropractor. I will go ahead and say that. And I go once a month, and sometimes I go on other times if I feel out of sorts, like my shoulder feels off or whatever, because um, believe it or not, even stress can manifest itself in your body in a way and cause a misalignment. Like
Mm-hmm.
I kept, like a long time ago when I first went to the chiropractor, I was like, I just feel pressure underneath my diaphragm. And in the middle of my back, it just feels weird. And then when he went to adjust me, he said, your stomach is trying to ride underneath your rib cage. He said, are you stressing? So he's like, we're going to make an adjustment, and then we're going to see if we can encourage it to drop down. So, and I immediately felt better. And I was like, okay, sometimes you're going to need a little assistance. The body is going to get a little off kilter, and there's nothing wrong with getting adjusted, because wherever the body may be off in alignment, that may be where the energy is stuck, and we want the flow to happen.
Okay.
I hope that
Awesome.
answers the question.
Well, those are some good tips. So to recap, first of all, there's in between your Zooming or in between phone calls, just standing up where you are, stretching, and breathing. Those can be easy to do stress breaks. Another tip that you have is to also use an app to schedule reminders to you at certain parts of the day to take a stress break. So you do a combination of you're feeling stressful, let's take a break, or in between your routine appointments, take a break, but then also scheduled reminders to take breaks.
Yes, I do, because it's something about though a lot of people who've done work, and that maybe you have done this too, Melinda, where if you've done the physical work of inner work, you know that on an inner psychic level, you're actually prioritizing time for yourself by putting it on your calendar.
Right.
So you're actually telling yourself, this is important to me, that
Yes.
I am important to me, and so I'm scheduling me time on my calendar. And when it pops up, that's why I said it may snooze and you may not be able to take it. But if you keep it daily, eventually it's going to work its way into your routine, that you'll find yourself doing it without the
Without
reminder.
needing the reminder. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And, I know that you're an essential oil person. I'm a big fan of doTERRA. So I think for me, when I take that break, I'm also going to have an oil at hand, some peppermint, which wakes you up and refreshes you, or citrus bliss. I love the orange smell is happy to me. So I think
Yes.
I will combine some of a little bit of aromatherapy with my stress breaks also to help really get it to sink in.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like then you want to, once you start exploring it, then you can say, okay, maybe I incorporate a little music, or I go and do something, or moving my body. Maybe I put a song on and I dance, or like maybe I actually go outside and take a quiet walk. I always talk about meditative walks where you can put on stuff and just walk for 5 minutes, and the walk could literally be, to the mailbox and back or something, but I got my body in a different, my mind in a different space, and then I came back. So it's a lot of what I am always is like, I'm like a broken record. I will always keep saying it. I say it a lot to my students when I teach virtual yoga. I do the same thing. I'm always talking about, okay, at the end, we want to sit quiet. This is the dessert of all the movements that we did to be able to have this moment to sit quiet.
Awesome. If you are interested in learning more from Evie, please follow her on Instagram and Facebook. She shares lots of video tips that are short little tidbits of here's how to stretch to do, here's, this little yoga pose, or she has meditation Sundays. Is that what it is?
Yes, on
Yes.
Mindset Sundays on 2
Mindset
p.m.
Sundays, yes. So she has lots of free resources. She's very helpful. You can always sign up for an online yoga class with her, or if you're in our East Cobb area, I'm signing up for some reflexology sessions with you. So that is one of my New Year's resolutions is that I'm going to try out reflexology. You're located off the Marietta Square, and so I will be
Yeah.
getting some appointments with you soon. So
Yes. I
thank
look
you
forward
so
to
much for
it.
joining me today. I appreciate your tips and all the helpful information you share and for being my guest today.
All right. Thank you for having me. And as always, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, we'll see you guys next week on Work Together Wednesday.